In this video, I want to share with my awesome friends how a way that you can always feel inspired and always just feel overflowing, abundant inspiration that is just so amazing that it just drips off of you into everything. And that's exactly what this video is about. So the first thing that I want to mention is a simple, obvious thing that everybody knows. Sometimes you have moments where you feel inspiration, and it can just spark in a single moment out of nowhere, and suddenly you are so moved with so much passion. And often this inspiration, all of a sudden you'll find yourself doing something. For me, maybe it's making a video, playing a musical instrument. For some of my friends, they all of a sudden they start painting. For some people, they write. For you, I would love to know. I know you guys are artists. My awesome friends here, I know you're artists. I know it. What is your art form? Because when all of a sudden this passion erupts in you, notice how all of a sudden you're moved to do something and you are in the flow, right? All of a sudden you're timeless. You're infinite, right? Time ceases to exist. You could sit in the same place for days almost, it feels like, and everything just is. It's perfect. It's beautiful. It's enlightening. But then sometimes we lose these enlightening moments, and sometimes we can go weeks without them, right? And where did they go? So that's the preface for the video, right? This is something obvious. Everybody's had moments of inspiration. Everybody has lost touch with this inspiration. Now, the most important part of this video is, look at this epic place that I'm in. Okay, this is Glacier National Park. It is very easy to feel inspiration here, and I'm going to explain why I feel this is and how you can apply this to yourself in this video. But the emphasis here is that I grew up in LA, in the city. All the sound of the cars, the sirens, people, screaming profanity and crazy stuff in the street, people freaking out all the time. There was no silence. I could never hear myself. I was so sick in the sound. And maybe you can relate. I'm not sure where every single one of you lives. I've had the chance to connect a lot with you, especially my friends who join Patreon and do the weekly live streams and hang out with me. So I know a lot about some of you guys, but I know there's a huge amount of you that I don't. And it's highly possible that you have your life somewhere where it's a lot harder to feel that inspiration. But what if I told you that the more chaotic of a place you live in, the easier it will be for you to tune into inspiration? You probably wouldn't believe me. You'd probably ask what kind of drugs I'm selling. Not selling anything. This is very simple. The truth is that I can feel this epicness and this inspiration very clearly in places like this. It's like this noise that we project with our mind. It's not happening here as much. It's more open. You can feel and hear the stillness and the silence in everything. And it's actually in these moments of stillness and silence where you just are being, right? You're not working on something. You don't have an idea that you're trying to create. You're not trying to change the situation. Inspiration happens in moments where all of a sudden, for whatever reason, this door opens up to consciousness and we suddenly just are. We are being. We aren't human doings anymore. We're human beings when inspiration strikes. Now, when you're somewhere where there's so much stillness and silence and everything, and it hasn't had as big of a shot at all these people coming in and building all this chaotic mind egoic structures in it to create all this noise, it is very simple to tune into it and feel it. But it's the silence underneath it. It's the silence underneath it. And in everything that's happening, there is a literal human standing on the other side of this trail, barking at my dog. What a gift. What a perfect thing to happen in this video. Literally, it could not be any more perfect. Even in peaceful places of silence and stillness, sometimes we manage to drag our mind into it, and we start banging with our sticks on the drum set of the universe. But we bang on it and play music from a position of kind of madness and chaos. And these are all aspects of who we really are in that consciousness. So it's even in these moments where things aren't going how you planned and there's these noises and just freak out happening all around you, you can still tune into it. I just got to show you this to you. He started moving. That's him all the way over there, and he is still barking at my dog. Lightning, Lightning, come here, buddy. Come on over here. Well, hopefully it doesn't bother you guys. It's not bothering me. But there's a true comedy happening here because he's still barking. He's still barking. Taking it back. If you live in the city and there's all this noise around you, it's hard to hear who you really are. And that's that inspiration. That's that stillness, right? That is hard to hear when there's so much noise happening around you. Perhaps you go to sit and meditate, for example. Perhaps you go to sit and meditate. And you are so ready to have a peaceful moment. And suddenly sirens start coming by. Suddenly your younger sibling starts screaming and freaking out downstairs. I don't know what your situation is. But gosh, it is so easy in these moments to give into that frustration and let it bloom. And just bloom even deeper into unconsciousness. And this is where we lose this inspiration and this peace and this flow of who we really are. But the truth is that silence might be easy to feel and hear in places like this, where I am, right now, currently, in Glacier National Park. It's easier to hear and feel because it's more obvious. But where you are, next time you hear that dog barking, the human barking back at your dog, listen to the silence underneath the sound. I know this sounds very just kind of fortune cookie-ish. This guy's still barking at my dog. I swear, this video was meant to be. There's no doubt about that. As simple of a video as it is, I can just feel it. And I'm feeling very grateful to that guy because even I just realized something in the moment of inspiration. How perfect. Listen to the silence underneath the sound. The only reason you can hear lightning barking, for example, is because of the silence that exists in everything, that always is. If it weren't for silence, you wouldn't even be able to hear a sound. And if it weren't for sound, you would not be able to hear silence. Now, I realize this is something that all of us can just intellectualize and say, yes, I get it. But here's the thing. When you intellectualize and you understand that, you're understanding it in your mind. You're shaking your head yes and intellectualizing, yes, I get it, I get it. And in that, what you're really doing is you're surrendering to the sound, which there's nothing wrong with the sound because it's an aspect of the greater scheme of things. But it's not an intellectual, yes, I understand it. It's really more of a feeling. And you can try it. Next time a car comes blasting down the street, listen. Listen to the sound that the wheels are making, gripping the pavement, the water, swishing up, the engine. Listen to it. And then tune your attention to the silence underneath it. Because in that silence is exactly where infinite inspiration is born. And it will always be. And it's infinite depth. It never ends. It literally doesn't. Now, there's always going to be people making noise around you. There's always going to be the big city. You know, even when you find yourself out in peaceful places, a guy's always going to stop on the side of the trail and start barking at your dog. Apparently. And it's so easy to get frustrated by it. But then we lose this flow. And this flow is a profound thing that is always here. And it's not only in the silence, it is in the sound. You can't hear the sound without the silence underneath it. And that's pretty much just the message I felt like sharing today. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for staying through the video, even though lightning has been freaking out the whole time in the background. I'd argue that it's a gift. I'd argue that it's a gift for all of us that managed to stay in this video. And I'll see you guys for the next one.